When I was getting started in woodworking, I was just like you guys. I didn't have a ton of money, I didn't have a ton of skills, but I wanted to build amazing stuff and I wanted to do it right now. Acquiring those skills to build some of the beautiful stuff we all see out there on the internet takes a while. I don't want you to have to search around the internet to all corners of woodworking to find improvements for your work. So I've compiled a list of 5 things that you can do right now that'll help you improve your woodworking without spending a ton of time and money. So let's get to it. First tip that I think all beginners should be using is going to be the tool called a plug cutter or dowel. You can buy dowels in certain sizes or you can make them on your own. This tool makes it super easy. Here we've got a butt joint. We've got 2 super ugly looking screw holes on the outside here. But I'm smart, so I know that that hole is 3/8 of an inch. And I also know that this plug cutter is also 3/8 of an inch. And we're gonna put it in a handheld drill because we're only cutting one, but usually when you use a drill press, it lets you cut plugs to match or to contrast. So here we've got some maple. If I can just come on in. And cut a maple plug that's literally made out of the same material as the other end of the board that we just made that joint out of. And this is great for like drawer boxes and honestly any joinery where you're gonna be face jointing something. All you do now, add yourself a little glue to the joint, put your plug in, and if you even want to go more professional, you can match the grain, which this grain's going this way, and obviously that joint's going that way. Let that set up a little bit, and in the meantime, we're going to drill a contrasting one out of some walnut, which I tend to be a huge fan of because I think the contrasting plugs are super rad and add a lot of cool contrast to the joint. Same thing. Oop, that's a lot of glue. That's like way too much glue. Here. Now while that glue sets up, I also want to make a suggestion for this dowel cutter from DFM Toolworks. I made a TikTok, as you can see right here. It's super easy. You could take stock all the way from this, which I think is 5/8, down to 1/8 on here. You just hammer it through the hole. They sell this for about 60 bucks, and the plug cutters are dirt cheap and super easy to find at your big box store if you want to get into it. So now that these are set up a bit, let's cut them up and show you what this looks like. Now all you gotta do is sand them to look pretty. And now that maple one matched so good with the grain, you can barely tell it's there. And this doesn't even have finish on it. So an easy way to step up your woodworking, add some plugs to your face screws. You can really start to make things look cool, and you don't have to invest in a silly pocket hole jig. Next, tip number 2. It's pretty common and you've probably seen it, a bunch of us use it, but it is using blue tape instead of double-sided tape with the addition of CA glue. Let's say for instance I have all 4 of these boards and I want to make them all the exact same size. Well, instead of making one and then trying to mimic and copy all of them, we can do all that work at once. All you got to do is take your blue tape, you want to lay it out on the bottom of all of them in a relatively similar fashion. So here you're going to need CA glue and activator. I like Type Bond products, but there's a ton of other good stuff out there. This is medium. You don't want to use the thicker stuff. All you do, give yourself a line down the one piece, and then with the other piece, spray the activator on the tape. You'll flip it on, making sure you're aligned. Get your corners and stuff aligned, push it down, wait a couple seconds. And now these boards are stuck together, but not permanent. So we have 2 more over here. I'll do the same thing. And then to make it simple, I'll just do it one more time to get all 4 pieces aligned. So a good example, something we like to do is like, say you want to do a drawer pull, right? Now all you got to do is mark it out on this one piece, and then we can cut it out and all 4 pieces will be the exact same. It's also a great way if you want to drill holes in something and have them all line up or be perfect or whatever. Pop them apart. And you can see it leaves no residue, and it's so much easier to remove than double-sided tape. Most double-sided tape is made for carpets. It gets really gummy, it gets really thick, but all of these parts are now going to be the exact same, and it's way, way, way easier and cheaper than buying double-sided tape for most applications. This next tip is going to be for those of you out there that have a jointer and are looking to do better tabletop glue-ups. When I got started, my first jointer was a Craigslist purchase, and it wasn't the greatest tool ever, right? I always had issues with glue seams not being tight on my tabletops and panel glue-ups or whatever. I always thought the jointer was just not that good. In reality, it's really difficult to keep a jointer perfect. So this tip, regardless if your jointer's set up perfect or not, will give you a way better glue-up. First thing you're going to want to do is lay out your boards in the order that you're going to be gluing them up. I like to mark mine in the corner and number them so we know 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 3. Keeping it simple. Let's go over to the joiner. So this is a joiner. If you're not familiar, it makes things flat on one side. You have a cutter head, a bed, and a fence. Those are the 3 things I'm talking about here. What you want to do is get your fence as close to square as possible. I keep these engineering squares on the joiner, and you can see here, it's just slightly out, right? And so this happens from time to time, and it's quite common. You'll try to adjust it the best that you can, but in reality, it's gonna come out of square more often than not. Extreme example, right? Let's move it back into square here. And I'm actually going to leave it a little bit out to show you guys how this trick works even better. When you're jointing boards, you want to joint one edge first and then rip the other edge on the table saw. Typically this will give you a pretty solid glue up. But if you do that and you're not getting a solid glue up, that's where this trick applies. So here's the trick. When you're gluing these boards up, it's only thing that matters is the angle on this face to this face, okay? And so if I bring these 2 boards, 1 and 2, together like this, I can joint this whole piece right here at one time, and it'll give me a perfect joint because they're going to be reflective of one another, whether they're in or out anyway. I'm not going to join them at the same time because some might say that that is unsafe. What I am going to do is make sure that I'm referencing the fence the same way. So remember, our fence is out of square, we know that. But I'm going to have the back of board 1 against the fence, and then the face of board 2 against the fence. Now when these come together, as you can see, that joint is perfect. And I showed you that on my joiner, the fence isn't square. And when I learned this trick, it made my panel glue-ups look so much better. And while we're at the joiner, here's a bonus tip. I have a 10-inch wide joiner, but my first jointer was 6 inches. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shrink this down here to 6, and I'm gonna show you guys a tip for doing boards wider than the width of your joiner. First, you're gonna wanna remove your fence, and we're doing what's called a face joint here. If you're not familiar, this is the face of the board, and this is the edge. In order to get a square board, you have to prepare both of those. We're focusing on a face joint right now. Our board, as you can see, is only going to cut and leave an edge on this side. So we're gonna face joint this board, and then I'm gonna show you our previous tip and a tip with the planer on how to make this board perfectly square and flat still. So you can see here, the joiner left a lip. So what we're gonna do is now mount this piece of wood to something that's perfectly flat, like this MDF here. And I'm gonna use the exact same double-sided tape trick that I just showed you guys. Here we go. Now these two are mounted together. The next thing you need is a planer. Something important to note is that I have a super wide planer, but if you only have a 12-inch planer, you're gonna make sure the overall width of your board and your sled are under whatever the width of your planer is. Most planers nowadays are up to 13 inches. Now all I'm gonna do is run this through the planer, give myself this flat side. Now we just pop it off. We run it back through. And just like that, you have a perfectly flat board. Bonus tip. The fourth tip or technique that I wish I knew when I was getting started was using blue tape to help me with layout. Now, if you've watched my content for a long time, you've probably seen me bust out blue tape to cut dovetails and to do some basic joinery. But this is like, I guess, I don't know, one of the most abundant opportunities to use blue tape in the shop. Let me show you a few examples here. Let's act like we wanted to cut a mortise in this block right here. If I was gonna do that, I'd probably initially establish the width of the block. Let's just make our mortise 1 inch from each side, okay? Now, how long do we want to make it? Let's just say we'll make a 3-inch mortise. Traditionally, what would be the next steps as a woodworker is you'd want to come in with your marking gauge like this, set it to that line, you come in, you mark it, flip the piece, you mark it, and you come back, mark that end, and then you're gonna go and start mortising out the material. But here is how I've started to adapt and do it that I think just makes it so much easier. You're gonna do the same technique. I'll come back, and what I'll do is I'll put blue tape right on that line before I start cutting. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Then I'm gonna put a piece on this side, I don't care if it matches the line, and a piece on this side. And I'll come back with that same marking gauge. I'll mark that line, and I'll mark that line. Now we already established that we're gonna have that line underneath. So, and we'll pull off from here. And now what we have is a much clearer representation of where we are cutting. The blue line is so much more of a difference in the wood. You can go about whatever method you prefer, whether you want to take this out with a Forstner bit, with a router. You guys have seen me hand cut bow ties into a lot of my work. I use this exact same technique. Works amazing in this application. I highly suggest it. You get way, 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 way cleaner results. But what if we want to cut a joint? Well, here's a good example. Say I want to cut a dovetail joint on this piece of wood and then scribe it over here to this one. Set up my blue tape on the edge of this board where I'm going to be cutting the dovetailed, more or less, lap joint, okay? Find center. We're going to measure ourselves 1 inch out on each side. There we go, inch. Awesome. So this board's 3 inches wide. I'm going to set the depth of it to 2 inches here. Now I'm going to take my bevel gauge, and I'm going to set to 7 degrees. Now, I'll come in here, you're gonna take that same marking knife. Now, cut that there, come back other side. We've got our point here and our point here. Fantastic. So, you always want to leave the blue on the part that you're keeping. So for me, what this has done, it's really changed my ability to visualize my joints because I'm gonna remove the blue tape. I'm gonna be able to perfectly see the part that I'm cutting. Perfect, I can come back and make that perfect if I want. All right, and so come back in over here. So for a pretty quick joint, that's not that bad, but say you have gaps just like these ones, because none of us are perfect. So you're looking here and you're looking here. Well, when I was getting started, I thought the only solution for that was to be better or use wood filler. You don't need any wood filler. A better option for gaps in your glue ups is simply going to be putting some glue into the joint. That was an excessive amount of glue, but I want you guys to be able to see it on camera. Unplug the dust hose, okay? And just sand away. I use this technique on dovetail joints. I literally just used it on the 3 levels end table I built for the boxes. It just makes it look way more seamless. I wish I knew this when I was getting started, because it's such a simple fix, such an easy way, and it keeps the sand dust the same color as whatever you're working on. Now, I will advise this: if you're staining something, the glue won't stain. So just be aware of that. I don't stain a lot of my furniture, but this is an awesome way to build confidence in your hand-cut joinery and any of your joinery. Also, if you have a gap in a tabletop glue up, try this trick. It's way better than using wood filler. And while we're on the subject of sanding, here's 2 more bonus tips for sanding. First and foremost, as a beginner, I was using my DeWalt Random Orbit sander, and I was just using the bag that came attached to it. Get rid of the bag and plug any sort of shop vac or hose that you can get into it. It will remove the debris from the surface, and you'll get much better and much more consistent results. Tip number 2, while sanding, get yourself a light. This is just a job site light, and rake it across your surface as you sand. What that'll do is show you any swirl marks, because it's going to create shadow lines on what you're sanding. It's something super simple. You can use a light like this. You can use a little flashlight out of your pocket if that's all that you got. They make things like this for using on cars and in big shops, but more or less, if you could shine a light across your work, it's going to show you swirl marks and give you a better chance of getting a better finish. And that's going to be a wrap on this one. I hope these tips are something that you can use today to improve your game when it comes to woodworking. Let me know if you've got any tips, leave those down in the comments below, and then let me know, what are we going to build next?